talking about Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Michael Wilson. Didn't see this one coming? Yeah, me neither. So Michael Wilson got a tough matchup here in week 15, but let's just talk through what's happened to Michael Wilson so far this season. So Michael Wilson with Marvin Harrison Jr. in the lineup overall this year. He runs a route on 85% of the dropbacks. He's targeted on just over 12% of his routes. 0.75 yards per route run. Doesn't even average 5 fantasy points per game. Now let's talk about Michael Wilson with Marvin Harrison in the lineup and Jacoby Brissett starting, because that is a different environment, as we've talked about over and over again. Runs a route on 82% of the dropbacks, 13.8 targets per route run, 13.8% targets per route run, 1.1 yards per route run, 6 points per game. Nothing special there, but it's a slight bump. You know, everybody gets a little bit of a bump with Jacoby Brissett, but nothing meaningful. Now let's talk about Michael Wilson with Jacoby Brissett starting and without Marvin Harrison Jr. in the lineup, which is a 3-game sample. Runs a route on 84% of the dropbacks, 35% targets per route run, 3.18 yards per route, and 24.8 half PPR fantasy points per game. The splits here are insane. I also think this, like, hey, wait, Michael Wilson wasn't a target earner before, and now he's a target earner. What changed? Hard to say what the different variable is here. So, which is why I kind of think the phrase is a little silly at times and a little bit over applied, but that's a subject for another time. So this is what we know that Michael Wilson is. Now let's talk about the matchups that he's done this in. Niners, Jags, Rams. So those are 3 games without Marvin Harrison Jr. So Ray, this matchup where I assume Harrison's not going to play, but I don't know for sure, but let's just assume for right now he's not going to play. They get the Houston Texans. Pretty big difference from a secondary perspective versus all those 3 that we talked about. How are you feeling about the Jacoby Brissett fantasy scam, the Michael Wilson target bonanza going against the Texans defense in week 15?
I don't feel good. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to roll him out there. Like, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, I'm playing him. I'm playing him. Listen, I'm watching this Texas defense. They are legit. They are the real deal. They are the truth, and they are going to make life hell for Jacoby Brissett, no doubt about it. But if Marv is out, Xavier Worthy was open. Rashee Rice was open. There were yards to be had. Jacoby Brissett can get the ball to Michael Wilson, and it's a consolidated target room. It's going to Michael Wilson or it's going to Trey McBride, right? And the thing about the Arizona Cardinals is, let's just say Houston puts bell to ass early, okay? Let's say they take care of business, all right? You know what Arizona ain't going to do? They're not going to pull that quarterback. They're not going to pull Michael Wilson. They're not going to pull Trey McBride. They are gunning it until the clock strikes 0-0 in quarter 4 or overtime if they happen to make it there. They're going to keep throwing the ball. Matt, they can't run it. Bam Knight's not very good. Michael Carter's not very good. So any chance that they have, it's not control the ground game and try to run the ball. You'll go 3 and out every time if you do that against Houston. You're not going to control nothing. Throw the ball, get it to Michael Wilson. I'm not saying I've got full, you know what? Actually, I am, damn it. If Marvin Harrison is out, I'm starting Michael Wilson with full confidence. We have seen how good he's been with Brissett. With Marvin Harrison Jr. off the field, even at Houston, even more of a reason to throw the ball. You should be down early, right? Gun it away, Jacoby Brissett, for as long as you're out there. I'm fine with him this week versus Houston.
Oh, dropping back 40, 50 times per game, 100% there's going to be some negative plays here. There's going to be sacks. There's going to be at least 1 turnover. You can go ahead and write that in pen. But that hasn't stopped them before. Now, they are potentially going to be without Paris Johnson, who has an MCL injury in this game. So they're starting left tackle. They're probably one good offensive
Stay positive
lineman,
here. So. Stay positive here.
I know. I was on such a roll building myself up there. And then I was like, oh, yeah, but you know what? They are going to probably not have their starting left tackle. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough spot. There's no question about it. And there's honestly no reason to look at like, well, Houston plays this coverage and in this situation. No, like this has all been a complete scam. And I say that lovingly because I like Michael Wilson as a player. I still have a lot of hope for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that these guys can be good in like not just fantasy good, but actually good NFL players.
Yes.
In the right situation, right environment. Right now, they're in a just complete fantasy scam because Jacoby Brissett is, like, you talk about garbage time. Shoot, they were in garbage time within 2 seconds against the LA Rams. Like, the Rams were up the whole time. And it's just, again, these like situations where they're just, it's not even like prevent defenses or true garbage time necessarily like that. It's just they're in these pass heavy scripts all the time, dropping back. And that's probably going to happen here against the Texans, because I think the Texans offense against a defense like Arizona can have matchups in their favor, and getting ahead there is truly all that matters. So will he come away with like a 3 yards per route run figure on pace to still have a 2,000? Probably not, but he's probably going to get 12 targets in this game.
He's got them every time he's gone out there. Every time. They're only going to throw the ball to Trey McBride and Marvin and Michael Wilson. That's it. If Marv is out, again, Matt, I don't want to, I'm with you. I'm not saying he's walking away with 15 catches, 170 yards, and 2, but he's getting 10-plus opportunities minimum in that game, and probably a very favorable game script for them to throw the ball.
Yeah, the reality is we're showing here from Hayden Winks, like he is wide receiver 1 in scoring on wide receiver 1 usage this month. I have a dynasty team and a redraft team where Michael Wilson has saved my bacon the last couple of weeks, because he has been just been able to produce this. And, you know, he was easy to get off the waiver wire. And in my dynasty league, I've been stashing him forever because I kind of like him as a player a little bit, just on the back end of the roster. Usually when I had to start him, I hated it. The last 4 weeks, I've been really enjoying it here. So I'm going to continue to play him and just see what happens here. I will just note this. The Cardinals are so banged up at wide receiver. Like, even when some of their depth guys are out there, they still aren't getting the football. Like Greg Dortch, you know, whatever. Like, he had that little moment, but it's still for the most part going to Wilson and McBride. Maybe the Cardinals can call up Anquan Bolden. He's only 45 years old. You know, he's Rivers' age. Call him up. See what happens. I don't know. Let's get a potential depth chart with him out here.
And just to confirm that take, just nail it home. The difference between starting Michael Wilson versus a very difficult opponent versus a number 2 wide receiver, the decisions that you have in Jacksonville is, we know unequivocally that the targets just consolidate to 2 guys. So even if some of the passes are going to be tipped and they're going to get their hands on some, but he's getting so much opportunity that you should at least walk away not feeling like, man, I had a bust. I think it would be very difficult for him to flat out bust with the type of volume that he's going to get.
Yeah, I think that's totally right. That's exactly the way to view it in this situation. All right, we are going to take our first quick break. When we come back, we're talking about the return of A.J. Brown to fantasy football stardom. We'll get into that right after this. All right, we're back. As promised, we're continuing to go through our data points you need to know heading into Week 15. Ray, you want to talk about a star wide receiver back in our lives?
Dude, I'm so frustrated because I could never nail Philadelphia. Could never nail when to play Devontae Smith versus A.J. Brown. Smitty was taking over looking like the stud, and then A.J. Brown started to complain a little too loudly, and Philadelphia Eagles had to oblige. And you know what? Us for fantasy, it's worked out. I mean, the usage since Week 12 for A.J. Brown, even if we go back to Week 11, is outstanding. We're talking about 3 100-yard games in a row. 3 touchdowns over this time frame for A.J. Brown, averaging 25 doggone fantasy points per game over the stretch. He's wide receiver 1 overall during that time. 4 straight games with 10-plus targets, right? 4 straight games with 10-plus targets. And here's the thing, Matt. His next 2 opponents, bottom 10 pass defenses in the NFL. Weeks 15 and 16, he's got the Raiders, who allow 154 receiving yards per game to the wide receiver position and a 68.5% completion percentage rate, 7.1 yards per attempt, 15 touchdowns to the position. And the Commanders, they give up 163 yards per game to the wide receivers, 8.6 per attempt, 26 passing touchdowns allowed. Big play upside for a very struggling Philadelphia Eagles. But you know what, Matt, it don't matter. It don't matter that they lost 3 in a row. A.J. Brown ain't been reading no books on the sideline. He is good to go, baby. And even with the drops, because he has absolutely left some stuff on the field, he is back to being dominant, A.J. Brown. The Philadelphia Eagles are still very much having to win to keep other teams off their heels. Like, they got to go. I know the offense is not great. I get it. I'm not here to talk about Jalen Hurts and the 4 interceptions. But from a usage standpoint, like, We're going to talk about another Eagles receiver a little later, but if you were somehow able to get A.J. Brown on the downslope, you're feeling damn good right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, shoot, I was trying to trade him in my one of my dynasty leagues.
Same.
He's made the playoffs. I'm like, maybe I'm glad that I didn't, for the stretch run, because he's certainly been putting up some big games, and I think he looks better now than he did at the beginning of the season. I still don't know that he looks like prime AJ Brown to me, but
yeah.
he's been great at the catch point all year long. Well, I mean, maybe not so much the last game. Obviously, he had some drops here, but I'm talking about like posting up, contested catch type stuff for the most part.
Yes.
He's been good at that this year. But yeah, you're right. He left a lot of plays on the field at the end of the game, or all throughout the game really last week. And these next few matchups here are all green light spots. Even that Bills matchup in week 17 in the Fantasy Championship. Now, that doesn't profile as like a type of secondary that Jalen Hurts has a lot of success against. It's a lot of zone coverage, just like the Chargers throw out. And, I think the Bills have been doing some creative things with their perimeter corners and closing up windows. So maybe that's not as much, but these next two games, Raiders, Commanders, they're the exact type of secondaries, the exact type of coverage schemes that Jalen Hurts and these guys typically thrive against. It's a complete, start A.J. Brown, and I think you can feel really good about it here these next 2 weeks. He's looking better. Is he happier? I guess. I don't know. I mean, who the hell knows with that part of it? But yeah, it's definitely been better.
Listen, the results are good, and they're giving him the opportunity, right? He's almost, because to your point, I don't know how much better he's looked versus them just getting him the ball. And now that he's got the ball, you're like, oh, he's still, even if he's taken a step back, he's still very good at doing certain things. He's still big, still physical, he's still explosive. But these matchups, right? Raiders and the Commanders. And this team does need to get it together. They need to get it together. They've lost 3 in a row. And had they not played in an awful damn division, they'd be in some serious trouble right now. I know a lot of people are going to still have the confidence in Hurts. I get it. But he's turned back into the number one for Philadelphia. They're giving him every damn opportunity available. He's back to being the primary read for Hurts. It's tough. And there it is right there on the screen. Since he complained, fantasy points, since A.J. Brown complained publicly, 72 for A.J. Brown, 26 for Devontae Smith. The Eagles are 1-3, and you know what you haven't heard? Over them 4 weeks he's been getting 10-plus targets. Haven't heard a word and don't know what book he's reading. He's locked into that route participation so he can get them yards. I'm just telling you what it is, man. I'm telling you what it is. Start him. Trust him with full confidence, even though Jalen Hurts was stinking it up last night.
Yeah, not to not to ask for some qualification here from our fantasy social editors there, but when do we start the publicly complain? Like, I think he's kind of been publicly complaining for I don't know, all year. I guess we can. I think that problem. Last few years. I don't know. I think he probably started at the moment when he told us all that he'd like to get rid of him in fantasy. Maybe he was saying that on the stream so that he could go trade for. He was his buddy that he was streaming with was actually like, I'm gonna go buy you low.
Don't start any allegations over here on the data dump, Matt. We don't need somebody coming to investigate Fantasy Gate over here with A.J. Brown and the fantasy scoring. But honestly, man, it is shifted. It's shifted, and it does leave some questions, Matt. And I'm trying to save it. I'm teasing you right now. It leaves some questions about the other guy that you and I both like a lot. You and I both like 100%. Him a lot. And I'd venture to say the 1-3 record, you might want to get Six the ball a little bit more. But I got some stuff for you later about Devontae.
Yeah. We'll get into that later. But that is what's so annoying about this Eagles team is everybody's like, well, if you just do this, it will be fixed. And then it's not fixed. Like, it's not. So there's everything is wrong, right? Like, this shouldn't be a team where only one of the wide receivers can go off at a time.
Correct.
These guys are so good, but that's just where the Eagles are right now. That's where Jalen Hurts is. That's where the design of the passing game is. Everything is a problem. Everything is a problem. Man, it must be annoying to you as a Cowboys fan, Ray, because if that team had just taken its defense seriously in the offseason, they'd be winning this division right now.
100%. If they would have just beat Arizona. Just handle the thing. Philly hasn't been playing. Matt, I'm just telling you, man, that there are some fundamental things wrong with that team. And I know a lot of people see it. It's not the same team that won the Super Bowl.